What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. I promised you two different brawler videos, and here you got them. So this is something quite a bit different from TMNT. It's an original game, though it shares a lot in common with games of the past. It's more of a, I guess you'd say, traditional brawler, let's put it that way. And I do like it quite a bit, but it does have the unfortunate reality of having come out basically at the same time as TMNT, and I do believe it has been overshadowed by that quite a bit, which is a little bit of a shame. All right, don't need to tell you what the title is. So yeah, this is a more traditional beat 'em up, very much emulating things like Final Fight or Streets of Rage. Classic series that brawler fans will absolutely love without question, and it's definitely got some cool things going for it. It comes from us from a largely two-person British developer whose last game was the very excellent twin-stick shooter Xenocrisis, which came out for modern systems and also came out on a whole bunch of retro systems too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happening with this one at some point too. We'll see what happens there, but as you can see here right away, very 16-bit inspired, also fantastic art, and the music in this is absolutely fantastic. It's partially done by Utah Saints, and I don't know if anybody watching this is old enough to remember that, but they were a big deal in the electronic music scene. I mean, they still are to a certain degree, and they make some fantastic, like, very 80s sort of funkified brawler music, something that I think would make Yuzo Koshiro pretty proud, in my opinion. And yeah, this is a little bit more traditional. It's only two-player co-op and no online, unfortunately. Though I did stream some of this with my buddy Technomancer, and we used Steam Remote Play, and it worked an absolute dream. So he was very impressed with it. He didn't really see any discernible lag or anything like that, so that is a way to do it. But if you are on consoles, that is something to keep in mind, that you're going to be stuck playing it local only. So, but you're sort of seeing the meat and potatoes right here. You know, again, you punch guys and they fall down. But this has a couple of different systems to it compared to some of the traditional brawlers. So the way a lot of older titles like Final Fight, for example, worked is you had your standard attacks, but you also had a special move. And whenever you used that, you had to be careful about it because it was really a really good and quick way to clear enemies out around you, but it would eat some of your health. Well, you see there in the bottom left, there's a super meter. So you can actually choose to use your special move at any time, but only when this super meter is charged will it not take any health from you. So if you're careful about it and you use it properly, you're not going to lose any health doing it. But if you find yourself in a real pinch where you need to do some crowd control or something like that, and you're willing to take a little bit of a health hit, okay, you can do that. And it gives you the option. I think that's a pretty cool way of doing things. There is a chain system as well, which you can get up, you know, on some of these early levels, you can get up pretty high. It's pretty generous with how it resets it. It's mostly done on time. I've taken hits before with this and it hasn't done anything, though that might be because I'm on the lower difficulty, and we'll talk about the difficulty in a little bit here. There is a scoring system. There are leaderboards that I believe are local only, but brawlers like this, I like brawlers that have scoring systems, but to be fair, it's really more just for bragging rights in this game. It doesn't really have any bearing. It's not like in TMNT where your score is kept over time and used as a more or less an experience system to level up your characters. This doesn't work like that. This is really just there's score that you get for doing hits on enemies. There's a rank at the end of the game, or at the end of the level, and you'll get bonuses. Your chain does give you a bonus at the end of the level. I believe that's based on the max chain that you have achieved in the game, so it does hold some import with the score, but again, the score doesn't really mean anything in terms of getting through the game. Now, where this game also varies a lot, and this is where one of the things Bitmap Bureau is known for, is this game is not maybe as long as Turtles is in terms of the amount of content, but it's bloody friggin' hard. Xenocrisis had two difficulty modes, easy and hard, and easy was just less brutal. And this is really no different. Now, I'm playing on the easy mode now, so you do see I have a large number of lives up there. And you may have seen me tear through the first level and go, well, holy geez, this is a bit of a cakewalk. Yeah, don't be fooled. this sucker ramps fast. And so, I have not yet actually finished this, even when playing co-op with Technomancer, and even on the easy level, because the later levels are vicious. They will do a certain amount of things that I frankly feel are like arcade-style cheap. Just environmental things that are really, really hard to dodge the first time out if you don't memorize where they're coming from. That will take a lot of health off of you, and that will even happen during battles. There are some things, environmental things, that will hurt you but won't hurt the enemies, which is something that always frustrates me. It definitely does that. It feels a lot like an old school brawler that was designed to try to pull quarters out of you, even though that's not what this is. And you have to be mindful of that. This is not this game is not necessarily full of content in terms of quantity, but where this will keep you playing it for a number of hours is the challenge. This is a game much like a shmup that demands that you get good, that you practice, that you learn how the levels go, that you learn where the traps are, that you learn where the enemies are going to come out and what types of enemies are going to come out, and you got to put in work to really accomplish this one. What I liked about TMNT was that game struck a very good balance of being challenging for those who wanted it, but also super accessible and easy for those who just wanted to button mash. This is far less so. This has absolutely got the challenge for hardcore players, but I think more casual players, yes, you can button mash in this, but you're going to get yourself killed eventually. It's just inevitable. If you are not playing this, if you're trying to play this in co-op and you're not playing it with someone, with two people who are experienced at brawlers and are really paying attention, you're not going to finish it. You're not going to even get close. And that's going to be a turnoff for some people who just want, have a friend who remembered Final Fight from the arcade and is like, oh, this looks kind of cool. They'll probably play it for a little bit and then be like, yeah, man, this game's too hard, or it's too mean, or it's too unfair, and I'm not interested in that. Now, to be fair, that is the kind of games, at least to this point, that Bitmap Bureau makes. They make stuff that's old school hard, and it's designed for people who want that. And there ain't nothing wrong with that at all. So, these guys know what they're making, they know what they want to make, and they know who that's designed to appeal to. And they're not making something here that is designed to appeal to everyone. They are catering to a niche, but because they're a very small developer, they can cater to a niche and still do pretty well from it. And I admire that. I do. And I really love the fact that we live in an era now where indie games can have that kind of niche focus and, still be able to make themselves a good living from doing it. I think that's great. So, see here, you've also got the colored health bars for bosses that you have to get it down into the yellow before you really start hurting them. Some of the later bosses have multiple layers of health, especially on the higher difficulties. This game, it definitely don't play at the later levels. It's, like I said, you're going to work for this. I mean, Xenocrisis, which is another game I love and still play on a regular basis, I haven't even beaten that on easy yet. Come close, but I haven't even beaten that yet without running out of credits. So, it gives you an idea what you're in for here. And I wanted to show both this and TMNT off because I think they're both excellent, but in very different ways. And in ways that, both of these games are appealing to me because I'm just a big brawler guy. And I used to play a lot of those rock hard brawlers back in the day. So I have an affinity for that, as well as brawlers that I can just play with my friends who don't take this genre, super crazy seriously. And I think it was really unfortunate that they chose to put this out at the same time as Turtles. I don't know if maybe because the Turtles release date announcement came very, very late. So I have a feeling the release timing for this was booked in before they even knew it. And they were probably kind of like, ah, crap. I highly doubt that they had structured this in such a way that they were hoping to capitalize on Turtles to drive interest for this. Because really, these two games are other than their core genre, really are not that similar to each other. And it's unfortunate because I think this game has been very overshadowed based on the number of Steam reviews I've seen and things like that. I think this has fallen under a lot of people's radar with Turtles sort of dominating the zeitgeist, if you will, right now. And That is a shame, because there is definitely going to be a lot of crossover between those two games and the audiences for those two games. I think there is a lot of people who like Turtles who would enjoy this as well. But I also think that this is something to pay attention to, because you really want to know what you're getting into with this, because you're not going to get the same experience. And it nails the 16-bit aesthetic really well. It's got great art, great music. The combat is definitely not as deep either. The combo system in this is, there are special moves and things like that you can do, but the combo system is definitely not as deep as the Turtles one is. But there's still depth here, and more than there was in some of the older titles that this is trying to emulate. But yeah, it's relatively short. It's very, very hard, and it pulls no punches. This is really aiming for challenge over accessibility, and I think it's important to see the distinction between the two of these and make sure that you know what you're getting into with this. Personally, I think they did a really good job with this. Online play would have always been nice. I know online play, you know, a lot of people say, oh god, why don't they just add online, as if they can just press a button in their engine, in the game engine, to go, okay, add the online, add the net code. I know it's not that easy, and especially for very small teams, that's a big ask in many cases. But fact is, online always makes these games, you know, accessible to a wider audience. And, you know, not everybody, especially in this day and age, has, you know, friends they can get together in person with very easily. If you were going to get a version of this and you are interested in multiplayer, I would definitely get the PC version. This game is low impact. It does not need a high-end computer. And if you've got an even reasonably good internet connection, Steam Remote Play works super, super well. And it's the thing, I think, that you would it's the way to play this. It's how Technomancer and I played it, because yeah, I don't know if I could have found anybody to play this co-op with. My girlfriend might have been interested, but she would have liked Turtles a lot more, because she's not a huge gamer and definitely not a big brawler fan. So, you know, I think she would have gotten frustrated with this fairly quickly, whereas Techno and I are very much the persistent type who'll be. And when we were streaming this, even when I streamed it on hard difficulty, it was good, because every time we played it, we got a little bit better and a little bit better, and we could feel ourselves getting further along, and we were like, yeah, if we kept at this, we could absolutely make it, you know, all the way to the end. And that's what this game rewards, is practice and persistence. But a lot of people who remember brawlers fondly don't have the level of affinity for the genre of somebody like me, and for those people, they'll probably find this a bit too frustrating. But if you're an enthusiast and you like a good challenge and you like having to put in some work for your victories, this would do you really well. And I really don't think those types of people should sleep on this. I think you should take a look at this and grab it and give it a shot if you think you'd like it. I think they have made a very good tribute to a particular type of brawler, and honestly, like I said, brawlers seem to be making a little bit of a comeback. The more the merrier, you know. And you may have seen as well here, especially since I'm on easy, I'm not using this game. Actually does have a block function, which a lot of older brawlers didn't, and it's actually a full block. As you can see, I'm not taking chip damage when they hit me here. I'm actually losing no health at all when I have a proper block up. That's nice. And on the harder difficulty, you absolutely need that, because you will get smoked if you're not careful about that. So, you know, I'm overall impressed with this. If I had to play, there's one of the cheap things we were talking about, and there's another one. Yeah, see what I mean? If I had to say, if you could only play one, would I say Turtles or this? I would probably say Turtles, only because I have more of an affinity for that original series. The sheer number of quality of life options, including the 6-player online co-op that it brings, is unmatched. And I do think, given that it sells for a similar price to this, I think you get more bang for your buck out of Turtles. I really do. And again, I think this didn't come out at a great time, unfortunately. I think they got screwed by timing on that, because I think a lot of people who bought Turtles are going to pass up on this, either because they're not that into brawlers, or they're just going to go, well, Turtles does all this and this only does this for the same money, you know, and you know, there's more to it than that. And you know, I bought this I actually didn't get a press code for this game, and I'm fine with that. I bought this. I'm happy I did. I feel it was money well spent, but that's me. And this I definitely don't think is going to have the level of universal appeal of Turtles. So if I had to pick one, I would pick that one. But that's not to say that this game is by any means bad, or that it's, you know, not a good brawler, or that it's not a good time in general for people who are into a challenge. You know, also the concept of games that actually challenge people is starting to come back more. More and more people are getting interested in that too, and that's great. I think the fact that this game is super hard is something that it wears proudly, and it should. I think it should be proud of that. Oops. Oh, and you see, there's one of the things that can happen. So, yeah, and you've only seen me play with one character in this. The game does have 3 characters. They are balanced the way you would typically expect in a game like this. One, which is this guy, is sort of the mid-range character. One of them is much faster, but not as strong, and the other one is super strong and not as fast. Pretty standard rock, paper, scissors style characters, but they do all play differently, and beating the game with all 3 is something that would definitely be beneficial as well. I have to say, I'm doing remarkably well here on my own. Like, I am playing on the easy difficulty, but usually I would have gotten smoked by this point, so I'm actually doing a little bit better. But now you can see too how hard the boss is hitting, right? Like, that guy took out took a handful of hits to take out all my life. So yeah, it's definitely it definitely amps up quick, and there's a lot more to it than this. I believe the furthest Technomancer and I ever got was the level past this, and that was as far as we were able to get without getting just completely, you know, completely smoked out. So gives you an idea there. But yeah, I think this is good. Just know what you're getting into. But if you are a big Brawler fan, definitely don't skip on it. It's pretty good. And it's out everywhere, which is always good as well. So yeah, that is Final Vendetta. Oh, doesn't this look familiar? Yeah. That is Final Vendetta. It's out basically everywhere. I hope this comes to Game Pass or something, or in the future maybe. Xenocrisis did. And I think that helped it get a lot more notice than it might have gotten otherwise. So I do hope they do something similar with this eventually. I think this would be a good fit. I think this would be a good fit for Game Pass. And yeah, if you play Turtles and had fun and are craving more brawler action, this is not a bad option for you. Absolutely not. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you like what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, what do you think about this game? Does this look interesting to you? You know, are you someone who's played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and how do you think this compares interest-wise for you? That I'd really like to know about. And always let me know, are there other brawlers modern brawlers that I haven't covered that you think also do a great service to the genre that I should know about? Because I'd always love to know about that too. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover indie and retro stuff over there, including a lot of stuff that you won't see over here on YouTube. I have a fantastic community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next Indie Ramble. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take her easy.